Tonight, our new reporting, President Trump considering a possible U.S. strike on Iran. The missiles just fired into Tel Aviv moments ago. This as Israeli jets attacked from the air, bombing Iranian F-14 fighters and rocket launchers. Our president declaring we now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. And tonight calling for its, quote, unconditional surrender. Iranians scrambling to get out the massive traffic jam in Tehran, and now reports of a cyber attack paralyzing ATMs. Will Israel take out the secretive Fordo nuclear facility buried deep in the earth? Also breaking tonight back here at home, flooding in Pennsylvania, stranding nearly 100 Girl Scouts as millions are under severe weather threats. Massive tornadoes ripping across the Midwest and devastating floods killing 7 in West Virginia. The last words from one victim to his mother before he was swept away. Verdict Watch tonight, why we may have an idea of how the jury in the Karen Reed case will make up their mind. And the Trump Organization getting into the phone business. Can it really be made in the USA and cost $500? The tense moments as a Democratic mayoral candidate is arrested at an immigration court. The wild surveillance video, a dog trying to chase off a bear that broke into its California home. And portrait of the class of 2025, the surprise from a fellow graduate that is picture perfect. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. We are coming on the air with breaking news. Moments ago, our Richard Engel and his team capturing this. A new round of Iranian missiles streaming through the skies of Tel Aviv. This as Israel bombs what is believed to be one of Iran's last F-14 fighter jets. President Trump jumping into the high-stakes fray today, urging, quote, unconditional surrender from Iran as Israel ups its raid, saying, quote, we now have complete control of the skies over Iran. The president considering a possible U.S. strike on Iran, that according to multiple current and former administration officials. The question's now about if it's an effort to take out that critical reactor deep in a mountain in order to cripple their nuclear enrichment program. President Trump's message coming after he urged Iranians to flee. This video showing traffic jams inside of Tehran. We have coverage tonight from Israel to Washington, and that's where we begin with Peter Alexander at the White House.
Tonight, with the conflict between Iran and Israel escalating, President Trump, meeting with his national security team inside the Situation Room, is considering a range of options, including a possible U.S. strike on Iran, according to multiple current and former administration officials. It comes as the president is amping up his warnings to Iran, calling for its, quote, unconditional surrender. And in a blunt message to Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, saying we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding, but adding we are not going to take him out, kill, at least not for now, but we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. And after abruptly leaving the G7 overnight, President Trump is pressing Iran to back down.
And then a real end, not a ceasefire, and then giving up entirely. Is that okay too?
All of it a significant shift in tone for the president, who's repeatedly vowed he will not allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. But for weeks has backed diplomacy, urging the Iranians to make a deal, now indicating Iran may have missed its window.
I've been negotiating. They should have done the deal. I told them, do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in a mood to negotiate.
President Trump today also declaring we now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran, though no U.S. forces or jets are participating in the Israeli strikes. Israel has damaged multiple Iranian nuclear enrichment sites, but is yet to strike the secretive Fordo facility buried deep beneath a mountain. That would likely require a U.S. warplane and an American 30,000-pound bunker-busting bomb, which Israel does not possess, a bomb that will not explode until it's underground. The vice president today saying that President Trump may decide he needs to take further action to end Iranian enrichment. Later noting the UN nuclear watchdog just determined Iran is not complying with its nuclear non-proliferation obligations.
If you want safety, part of safety, and I think all Americans want that, is ensuring that the worst people in the world don't have a nuclear bomb.
Peter joins us live tonight from the White House. Peter, just last week we were talking about efforts to get a deal with Iran. Now we're considering joining the war. What's behind the escalation?
Tom, President Trump had long been pushing for negotiations over bombings, but in the days before the Israeli strikes, multiple U.S. officials tell NBC News that he became convinced Israel's anxiety was warranted, and they say he did not want to be the president on whose watch Iran was able to obtain a nuclear weapon. Tom.
Peter Alexander for us. Now to the new strikes inside of Iran today by Israel, taking out Iranian fighter jets and missile launchers. I want to get right to Richard Engel and his team just witnessing a new Iranian strike on Tel Aviv. Richard joins us. And Richard, tell our viewers what just happened.
And right now, Iranian ballistic missiles are coming into Tel Aviv. You can see the Israeli air raid systems in operation right there. Some of the Iron Dome system going up, making interceptions. They are exploding at relatively high altitude just over the center of Tel Aviv. This is the second barrage we've heard just in the last few minutes.
Israel tonight is launching new strikes inside Iran, taking out Iranian F-14 fighter jets while still on the runway and destroying ballistic missile launchers in western Iran. Israel now declaring the Iranian military leadership is on the run and that it just killed Iran's most senior military commander, General Ali Shadmani, who had replaced another general Israel killed just 4 days ago. At a press conference tonight, Israel's foreign minister warning anyone in Iran to, quote, consider carefully before taking that job. And this from Israel's ambassador to the United States.
You're going to see some surprises on Thursday night and Friday.
Overnight, images of massive traffic jams as residents rushed out of Tehran. While we've now learned from sources on the ground, potential cyber attacks are hitting Iran's banking system, with some ATMs not working. Israel's military operation targeting Iran's nuclear program and its military leaders is now into day 5. Israel saying it's killed several top Iranian generals and 10 nuclear scientists. Today, Germany's chancellor praising Israel's operation, saying this is the dirty work Israel is doing for all of us. While China's President Xi saying all parties should work to de-escalate. Iran has launched missiles every day against Israel, some seen streaking through the skies out of the window of a passenger jet. Only a few were launched today.
I heard this ballistic missile explode around 9 o'clock this morning. It caused a major bang, but nobody was killed or injured here. Instead, a lot of buses. This is a bus depot just north of Tel Aviv, and the buses were totally charred.
Israel says Iran has launched 400 ballistic missiles at Israel since Friday. Air defenses have taken out most of them. Richard Engel, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
And back here at home to the severe weather, flood watches in effect for 21 million people from Pennsylvania to Kansas. And in West Virginia, the desperate last words from one man swept away by floodwaters. George Solis is there.
Tonight, torrential rain pounding Kansas as severe weather threatens millions. The deluge in Pennsylvania stranding this group of 100 Girl Scouts. First responders helping the troop across a flooded roadway north of Pittsburgh. Nearly 20 tornado reports from Nebraska to Minnesota. This massive funnel cloud seen ripping across the Cornhusker State, menacing farms and homes for nearly an hour. The Army National Guard on the scene in West Virginia, the state reeling after major flooding took the lives of 7 people, including 26-year-old Kylie Shotton and her 3-year-old daughter Parker.
I know I heard someone yell, help, and I think it was him. And all I could do was watch helplessly. I couldn't do anything.
In Triadelphia, Brian Creighton says his 19-year-old son Travis was with his mother Donna. The water quickly rising, ripping their home from its foundation. They were both swept away, Donna surviving.
Travis' last words to Donna was, swim, Mommy, swim.
I'm trying, baby, I'm trying. And then I just kept going underwater.
Brian says his son died a hero.
His last selfless act. I really want my baby boy back.
Tonight there is so much heartbreak, and the threat of rain continues into tomorrow, slowing down the cleanup process in these already hard-hit communities. Tom?
George Solis with those devastating stories out of West Virginia. Now to the latest on the investigation to the attack on Democratic politicians in Minnesota. Police revealing chilling new details about the murder of Melissa and Mark Hortman. Here's Maggie Vespa.
Tonight, a solemn procession carrying the bodies of State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, as Minnesota authorities work to determine the motive of the suspect they say stalked and killed them at their home early Saturday as part of a targeted attack on lawmakers.
He's nothing short of a monster.
Brooklyn Park Police Chief Mark Bruley today sharing new details about the shootout at the Hortmans' home, describing this frantic call from a sergeant.
She said, "Hey, Chief, here's the deal. Senator Hoffman, who lived in Champlin, had been shot. His wife had been shot. We came over to Melissa Hortman's house, and Mark, her husband, is dead. We can't find Melissa. We think she might be kidnapped, and the officers got involved in a shooting with the suspect."
It wasn't until officers went deeper into the home that they found her dead. The family dog, Gilbert, wounded. He was later euthanized.
It was from here, the Hortmans' home, that authorities say Belcher took off on foot, sparking that historic two-day manhunt.
According to court documents, during that manhunt, authorities found guns, cash, and passports in Belcher's wife's car.
Can you tell me whether or not she's been cleared in that investigation?
I would say nobody's been cleared in this investigation.
Lawmakers around the country on edge. Congress today holding an emergency briefing about safety. Minnesota Rep. Zach Stevenson knew Melissa Hortman for decades. Today, remembering this advice she once shared.
You can be strong and kind at the same time, and that really was what Melissa Hortman was all about.
The Hortmans' grown children saying the best way to honor their parents is to do something, whether big or small, to make our community just a little better. Maggie Vespa, NBC News, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota.
Now to the third day of deliberations in Karen Reed's retrial for the murder of her boyfriend. The jury asking a series of questions today, hinting at possible confusion, even division. Emily Aketa is at the courthouse for us. Emily, what did they ask?
Tom, no verdict yet, but we are getting some insight into where jurors' heads are, asking a question this afternoon. If we find not guilty on 2 charges but can't agree on 1 charge, is it a hung jury on all 3 charges or just 1 charge? Now, the jury is allowed to come to a unanimous decision on just some charges, but the judge said she would not answer their question today, calling it theoretical. The defense raising concerns that confusion over that point could lead to a repeat of last year's mistrial. Remember, Reed is accused of hitting her police officer boyfriend with her car and charged with second-degree murder, manslaughter while driving drunk, and leaving the scene of a deadly accident. A possible sticking point in deliberations. The jury also asked questions about lesser charges related to drunk driving. Deliberations, Tom, are set to resume tomorrow morning.
All right, Emily, we thank you for that. The Trump Organization, led by the president's sons, Eric and Don Jr., say it will begin selling a smartphone later this summer designed and built in the United States. The cost? $499. We asked our Brian Chung to see how that could be done.
And today we're here to introduce Trump Mobile.
The Trump Organization's latest business venture is going mobile. From high-rises to golf courses, drinkware, and of course, hats. Now add unlimited talk and text.
We've partnered with some of the greatest people in the industry to make sure that real Americans can get true value from their mobile carriers.
The president's son's promoting a mobile plan for $47.45 per month. The price a nod to their father's 2 terms in office, but also higher than the $25 to $30 competitors charge for comparable services.
We're keeping our data onshore.
Donald Trump Jr. highlighting a St. Louis call center to keep customers' data stateside. The Trump Organization also promising a $499 gold smartphone to be released in August, dubbed the T1. The company's website calling it proudly designed and built in the United States. That statement met with wide-range skepticism.
Where is it truly being made? What is actually being made here in the U.S. and what is being made abroad?
Our questions to the Trump Organization asking the same thing, receiving no response today.
It's a massive amount of undertaking to begin with.
In Carlsbad, California, Todd Weaver says this is the only smartphone manufactured in the U.S., the Liberty phone, made by his company, Purism.
It's 100% done here.
The assembly is 100% done here, and the parts are majority American.
Correct, that's right.
Liberty phones cost $2,000. They're also twice as thick as and have half the memory of an iPhone Pro, and they don't allow users to download many apps.
What we do is we provide complete control to the person.
But the company says it's sold tens of thousands thanks in part to its security features. The phone, Weaver says, took time to make.
And then from idea to finished U.S.-made phone was 6 years.
And so when it comes to the talking point of there are some things you just can't do in the United States, can you build a smartphone in the United States?
Well, of course, we're obviously proof of that.
All right, and on that point, Brian, you just showed us that Made in America smartphone costs $2,000. But the Trump Organization mobile phone is going to cost $499, also claiming to be made in America. How's that possible?
Yeah, that's a pretty low price point compared to its competitors. But without knowing where it's made or where its parts come from, it's tough to say how Trump Mobile is going to be able to price it at that point. We're going to learn a lot more when that phone comes out, which Trump Mobile says will happen in August.
In August. Okay. Brian, we thank you for that. Up next, the moment a New York City candidate for mayor was arrested at immigration court. This is the video. Why federal officials say they took him into custody.
Why are you arresting?
We are back now with another high-profile clash between immigration officials and a Democratic politician. New York City comptroller and mayoral candidate Brad Lander was arrested, according to DHS, for allegedly assaulting law enforcement and impeding a federal officer. Lander says he was holding the arm of a man immigration officials were trying to detain and asking whether agents had a warrant. Food Network star Anne Burrell has died. The classically trained chef was known for her big personality and signature platinum blonde hair. The cause of her death hasn't been released. She was 55. And wild surveillance footage captures the moment one tiny dog went nose to nose with a massive black bear in California. The dog barking at the unbothered intruder who continued to look for food before going back outside through the yard. The bear was wearing a tracker, meaning it's possibly been caught breaking and entering into homes before. Okay, when we come back, the high school graduation surprise. You could call it a masterpiece. That's next. Finally, there's good news tonight for a high school student who shocked her classmates on graduation day. Sam Brock on how she managed to pull off an unforgettable surprise.
From all appearances, graduation at Notre Dame Academy on Staten Island looked like a normal ceremony, but salutatorian Sophia Nielsen
I've prepared a little surprise for all of my fellow graduates.
had a trick up her sleeve, or you might say, on her canvas.
I thought I would just make a big painting of the school's campus. Then I thought, graduation's not about the buildings, it's about the students.
The nationally recognized artist sketched classmates on an iPad, then brought them to life in watercolor next to their yearbook pictures. All 110 of them. The process took months, and the results uncanny and stealth. Even her childhood friend Kaylee was in the dark.
So your families are like family?
Yeah, definitely.
And you had no idea this was going on?
Not a clue. Right behind my back.
School leaders offering supplies and a stage for something special.
I wanted everyone to cry.
So you had a very clear goal in all this?
Yes.
You wanted tears?
Yes.
What unfolded
would please reach underneath your seats. There's something plastic taped there.
Was a medley of emotions and ultimately a standing ovation. A graduation sure to stand the test of time for an artist who paints what she feels.
I knew it was a lot of work, but I did it.
Sam Brock, NBC News, Staten Island.
We thank Sam for that. That's Nightly News for this Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Llamas. Tonight and always, we're here for you. Good night. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.